Well, I expect today, as the President promotes energy once again, as you mentioned, he uses the word dominance. He wants to take advantage of the renaissance we've experienced the last decade here in the United States, and I expect today he's going to touch on our even greater potential to export, both LNG and crude exports. Since 2010, we've doubled our exports in the United States, and the real value here is we create domestic jobs. These are high-paying jobs. We build domestic infrastructure, and then we're allowed to capture the global market. So we're optimistic that with the President's leadership, as he makes energy a centerpiece of his economic recovery program, that we're going to have some other opportunities. So we're anxious to hear what he has to say today.
Jack, are we actually importing, how much oil do we import in barrels per day?
Well, it's down significantly. We're down to less than about 30% overall. So there is still some import taking place. But export-wide, we set a record in February of this year with over 1 million barrels a day of crude oil. And that's unique. As you know, it was only a couple of years ago that we were allowed to do that after the Congress, with great wisdom, looked forward and said, let's lift this ban on crude oil exports. And this allows us to not only impact the global markets, but allows us to create those jobs here at home as we find new markets for our product in a cost-competitive way.
Let's talk about that. The reason that we back then banned the export of crude is because we wanted to make sure that we were using everything we could ourselves rather than being reliant on the Middle East or anywhere else to try and bring our energy needs in. We wanted to make sure that we had more of a America first sort of policy from that perspective. It's interesting to see how that has kind of changed. Can you do those things, find national security and self-determination, and also have exports going out at the same time?
Absolutely. In fact, what it allows us to do is open up a freer market, if you will, on the global scale. All you have to do is look at the geopolitics around the world today, and you watch what OPEC has been doing, you watch what other major producing nations have been doing, and they're having to react to our ability here in the U.S. It was really driven by our technological advancements with hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling that have given us this chance today, where now many people will be surprised to know the U.S. is the #1 oil and natural gas producer in the world. And it's changed those geopolitics such that it benefits our national security, it benefits our domestic economy, and now we've got many of our friends and allies around the world saying, you know, we'd like to wean ourselves off of those other nations that have been providing us energy, and we'd like to work with the United States. I know it was just announced recently, I think Gary Cohn, the National Economic Advisor to the President, said that one of the first shipments went into Poland. And as the President travels over to Europe and around, there are many nations saying, look, give us your energy. Let's work out our energy relationship. And I believe it'll help secure us from a national security perspective well into the future.
I guess the goal is to do two things. First of all, to not artificially hold back energy prices. You don't want to see the spread between WTI and Brent get so broad. And that way it allows us to produce more without the prices coming down so significantly that we have to cap some of the wells. Is that the whole point?
Yeah, that's the hope and expectation that, like I say, as the market becomes more free on a global scale, you'll see that spread continue to close, and it's closed significantly, as you know, over the past half a dozen years since we've been producing so much here in the United States. But in the global context, once again, the real beneficiary here are consumers. You look at the United States today, AAA estimates that the average consumer saves over $550 a year at the gas pump because that vast supply has now put downward pressure on a gallon of gasoline. It's also estimated, the experts say, that every family now saves over $1,300 a year just in their home heating and cooling costs. So you couple that with job creation, opportunity to build infrastructure. Recent studies shows in our industry alone over the next dozen years, there's a potential $1 trillion, that's a T, $1 trillion in private investment just to build energy infrastructure. So as the President focuses on this and he gets rid of the unnecessary barriers, if you will, to freeing up our economy, I think we're going to see some great things happen in energy, and it's a great benefit to the American people, to American industry. It's bringing our manufacturers home. It's a win-win-win all the way around. So we're pleased his focus has been on energy, and we look forward to hearing great things today.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.